Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. This is a series that consists of spewing out assorted thoughts which arose from somebody who thinks too much, taking in, and generally loving various entertainment media by the boatload. These tidbits may be little theories, observations, or simply jokes. Please bear in mind that all these ideas come from the perspective of somebody who's experienced every main story bit connected with whatever is currently being gone over. So spoilers will be here. However, other works set in a shared continuity will typically solely be referenced in a way that only makes sense to anybody who's also fully experienced those ones up until their same time occurring point. Sort of a coded nod kind of deal. Now, with all of that out of the way, here we go. Wiley waiting so long to get his greatness gifting gadget actually manufactured is because not only did he just lose all his expected resources with no shortage of watchful eyes being kept on him, but also attempting anything would be far too upsetting at this point. It's only years later when he's mastered the art of working in shadowy places and is also filled with other negativity that completely overrides being snubbed as a student that the necessary work ethic manifesting / component gathering can take place. As for why he's suddenly forced by his subconscious to get back into this long buried memory, recent dabbling with making attempts at stealing favorite public view hoopla from Dr. Light, first via framing and then by the act of curing a self-created virus, has really made said dude's continued love everywhere-ness extra nagging. Thus, agonized Albert's aching mind sought to examine every bit of his rival's positive prominence in hopes of finding something that could truly cause a similar situation for himself. Apparently, all that was just done completely in reverse, and it took a few years to reach the inspiration recharging, crime-related humble beginnings. Hamster wheel block dude's daily deeds must mostly consist of paving roads and or parking lots through some good old-fashioned colossal robot weight-generated self-propelling action. These invisible mines were likely stolen from military bases that Commander Construction was overseeing the building of before he got all rumpily geared up. Non-pirate stronghold-affiliated skullhammers are almost definitely just regular blacksmith bots modified to be all Wily theme-happy. Alongside that crazy clockwork crap, Dr. Light must have installed a more powerful charge shot within Mega Man that he's been working on for somewhat longer than usual. This probably seemed necessary just in case his metallic son absolutely needed extra attack power during certain battles, but couldn't risk overheating related nonsense on account of sleazy sinister soldiers sporting sizable stamina stores. These power part pilfering peons may very well have been created to gather extra strength multiplying junk for base so he can get into the action with might at least equaling his rival. He never shows up this game because they suck at their job and couldn't gather enough whatnot for him. This increased hit stun deal must be part of some kind of compromise law that was agreed upon so MM9's expiration dates could be removed. The world's robot champion would have voluntarily had this alteration applied to himself, despite no such obligations being placed upon him, much like that prior legal whatever, in an act of cyber-sibling supporting solidarity. Dr. Wily would have rendered all doors awesome jump entrance disabling because a certain Mega Man mimicking prize piece kept using a double hop to make simple room traveling action, and it got really annoying for him. In addition to explosions being at least a little bit useful during demolition, blasting vanishes Block Boy because, on account of close blueprint following generally being highly favored in contract work, the dude has extreme pickiness deeply ingrained within his core programming. Hence, he experiences overwhelming mental anguish on top of normal bodily harm every time kabooms happen. The relatively wide color variety present in these considerably compact chasm-contained chemicals is a result of randomness mixing consisting experimentation, not being so held back anymore now that the workforce more or less is only filled with beings who can be repaired and or replaced non-stop. Scathingly smiling striking Spider's standard scare in his starvation seems like it's a thing because Wily couldn't afford to manufacture any traditionally intimidating facial parts since he spent so much hidden stash money on finishing that ever-so-prized double gear system. He must have had lots of happiness-proclaiming masks lying around because there were many leftovers from Clown and Magic Man related schemes. Inconsistent item iconography is apparently a dual cog proximity cost glitch that occasionally occurs when folks empowered by such stuff hold onto their junk for long enough. The squeegee-armed Ultimate Octobot is normally used for preventing dangerous liquid involving flood by sucking stuff up. Somewhere within this poor thing's madman altered CPU, much becoming everything one has ever hated related misery must be occurring each time one of these rooms gets filled with deadly goo. Anyway, Wily's prized invention must have also calls make advanced copyability-related shapeshifting advance beyond simple palette swapping. Great barrage, amplifying acids awful times twice over, at least, is because building materials must be absolutely weatherproof, no matter what's getting put together. Thus, the deadly slime does nothing but struggle and dry up every time attack attempts are made. Missile launching cones are almost definitely for clearing out all that debris that comes about whenever people and things enter areas their placement was forbidding access to. Electro barricades would be for stopping out-of-control self-driving vehicles by short-circuiting them. These hyper-speeding drills are armed with miles-covering laser-aiming devices to help make sure workers on opposite site ends don't send the things right into each other's paths. Floor-focused, faint flame-flinging foes fought freezing of the iced-up road variety before getting twisted into regular arson-making doodads. On top of friction reduction causing wrecks to happen, acid assault also alter delicate oil mixtures that reduce general performance to debilitating degrees. When proper safety protocols are followed, these huge happily hitting hands help make folks' days better by providing a generally injury-free thrill ride. These aforementioned danger-preventing features most likely just consist of placing balloons like this in more strategic manners. Bumpy bomb bots bring boisterous booms of the daily fireworks show resembling variety. Inflating guys usually make rubbery animals of all kinds for supplying amusement-filled transportation that goes throughout the entire park. Frog form fixing would be the result of wanting to catch foes off guard with goofy appearances and whatnot. The violent stop-hand gesture utilizing U-pit jumping hellspawn must have previously provided the service of stopping folks from getting on rides they aren't tall enough for. Besides Bubbles being burst, the refined straight-line consistent movement one uses while impacting throws Bounceman sloppily maneuvering himself into a jealous rage that makes every painful bit all the more intense. This evil backup generator is of course supposed to urge workers that calmness must be retained at all times during blackouts. The air disturbances prevent proper conductivity. Also, for whatever reason, this dude really likes the crackling sounds high voltage electricity sometimes makes. So, all these bouncy noises piss him off and ruin atmospheric junk in other ways too. Factory-formed fiercely frosted flakes bite-free function focuses upon checking out their natural versions and determining whether or not myth deals about them all being hold any weights. Mini bunny bots bring benefits by rescuing tiny animals facing natural disaster-related threats, such as blizzard trouble in this specific instance. In other places, they might save people from inhaling too much smoke during forest fires. Danger-delivering goggle store bots would help out by clearing out in-the-way junk that pops up during avalanches or whatever. Witness how incredibly dangerous they become through the simple act of disabling their don't drop anything AI bits. Extreme electrical emissions eliminate any chance angry Arctic android over here has at making the stormy conditions necessary for snow and ice-filled artificial weather systems. These artificial intelligence ran tents are placed by national park people to help out anybody on a long hike. In addition to possessing their own heating and cooling systems, the things would also have alarm clocks, so travelers could get right back to journeying once all properly rested. Tin torch travelers typically tow temperate food and just provide warm light without setting anything ablaze aside from themselves. Can contraptions could easily just normally fire off litter-collecting arms instead of missiles. Turkey titans totally tell tales, talking about how overhunting one particular species is very bad. Not only does the coolness extinguish one step up from a letterman's inferno, these harsh winds throw his torch jutsu techniques off balance. Exploding, and his jumping feet attack building sidekick would perform a meticulously choreographed fight against those flaming barrel throwers and the laser mech harnessing Joes as people riding that roller coaster watch in awe. This track is almost definitely supposed to only have one car on it at a time. Said ride's purpose is most likely to give performers perspective on what park guests see during their stage battles so they can best figure out how things could become more visually appealing. He was only manufactured to standards of fireproofing required for entering entertainment venues. Wiley doesn't care enough to soup him up for true battle. Currently being in charge of a double-gear-powered super army allowed Dr. Wiley to get this place built extremely fast. So there was no worry about disguising its construction with some kind of clever cover story, like being a chiropractor school Also, he might have modified a castle that was part of Last Man's theme park town. These twisted turners are suffering from rust damage because appropriately angry Albert was testing out his devious doubling device on giant machine-containing scenarios and didn't care to clean up following the first few failures. Yellow Devil Mark III is a thing because Wily sees trying out his original invention on a version of his first Fortress guard as some wholesome, thematically beautiful fun. Chain Blast is this demonic dandelion's weakness because the junk it had to be put through to become more electric-proof involved losing resistance to concussive force that goes in many directions. Maybe it's some kind of coating that doesn't respond well to particular levels of air pressure. Malvern's made mincemeat by boogieing balls because not only are they all rubbery and insulation, he also really doesn't like getting assaulted by a child's toy since it reminds him of how empty his life has been, that things will never change. Dr. Wily must really enjoy going out of the way to program his boss for hatred collection throwing on account of how he thinks it will feel more gratifying than way a minion actually succeeds at finishing Mega Man off. Ah, the joys of living Robo vicariously. Boss rematch rooms are more tailored to each individual Robot Master this time around because the Double Gear system's enhancements granted them speed and strength levels, which made spare time filling DIY remodel action an entirely feasible option. Low pH levels send machines and capsules into a frenzy this time around because the amount of effort it took to finish his 2-time jump did leave many opportunities for defense development beyond simply making sure light impacts don't cause crashes. Aside from that first robotics law deal, Mega Man always sparing Wily is a result of his core lab assistant role enabling program being centered around helping out an old man with menial tasks. This is also why original Model Rock couldn't help but volunteer to fight for everlasting peace on Light's behalf, as the guy's workstation can't be kept in order if society winds up annihilated. Everything that's ever happened in the classic series is really just an extreme version of a beautiful child finishing up chores. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.